Hello, my friends, hello, and welcome once again to stately Vaughan Manor. And I've got kind of a last minute exciting thing to tell you fine folks about today. I'm going to be talking about Book Trek 2021, and that is an event that myself and some fellow booktubers are doing. I'm not sure which booktuber invented it, but a few of us are doing this, and this is a Star Trek reading project that we're doing on the BookTube, Book Trek 2021. Star Trek, we're all big Star Trek fans. Everybody who's doing this project, and if you are a Star Trek fan, hop on board. It should be fun. So what the project is we're going to be reading Star Trek novels, something I haven't done since the 80s, I guess. It's the last time I read a Star Trek novel was when The Next Generation was still on television, and it was probably only in its third season, the last time I read a Star Trek novel. So it's been a while since I've read a Star Trek novel, but I am a pretty big Star Trek fan, so I'm kind of looking forward to this. This should be fun. My favorite Star Trek is the original series, but I'm a pretty big fan of The Next Generation too, because that is the series that was on when I was a teenager. And Deep Space Nine is probably the best Star Trek of all, really. Almost. It's almost the best Star Trek of all. So this is how we're going to be doing this. This is going to be a 5-month mission. And in October, we're going to be focusing on the original series. We're going to read a novel or more than one novel in the original series. And that can go up through the Star Trek motion pictures that focused on the original series. And then in September, it's going to be The Next Generation. And that can go all the way up to Picard, the television show Picard. It can go the time frame can go all the way up there. Any Star Trek Next Generation novel that you read. And then in October, it's going to be Deep Space Nine. Any Deep Space Nine novel or related novel, I'm assuming. In November, it's Voyager. Any Voyager novel. And I guess that'll go up through Nemesis, that film that Star Trek fans don't talk about that much because it wasn't that great. And then December will be Enterprise, the underrated television show Enterprise. I actually kind of liked Enterprise. I like that show. And that will be in December, and that'll complete our 5-year... Wait a minute. Where's the greatest Star Trek show of all? Where's Star Trek Discovery? The greatest Star Trek show ever made. I'm just listening for the screaming. Somewhere Steve Donoghue is screaming. No, I guess somehow Discovery got left out of our mission. We'll just have to live with it, I suppose. So August, the original series. September, Next Generation. October, Deep Space Nine. November, Voyager. December, Enterprise. So that'll be exciting. And during this month, we could read one novel or more that focuses on that particular Star Trek series. And as we do this, we're going to be putting out videos and talking about the novels that we read, and we'll be talking about our feelings about the television show, that particular television show that we're talking about. So I thought about this. I just found out about this, and so I thought about, what am I going to be reading? So for next month, August, which will be the original series, of course, I had to decide what Star Trek novel I'm going to read. So I'm going to go right to the beginning and read the very first Star Trek novel that was written. It was written by a guy named James Blish. Now, James Blish put out the very first Star Trek books, and they were basically novelizations, basically, of the original series episodes. He would just write a short story, basically, of whatever episode he was focusing on, and they were a series of paperback books, Star Trek 2, Star Trek 3, and they just came out, and they each had like 6 novelized episodes in there. And they sold, man. Everybody had these books. And these books were everywhere because at the time that these books first came out, in the 70s, I think. It was either late 60s or early 70s. I'm thinking 70s, but I could be wrong. Anyway, at the time that these books came out, there wasn't any other way to experience Star Trek except for on the reruns when they came on television, because there were no VCRs, of course. So everybody wanted these books who were Star Trek fans. And I don't have any of those original paperback books anymore. But what they did do is they collected these paperback books and these hardcover book club editions, and they called them the Star Trek Reader. So James Blish put out, I think, 11 of those books, either 10 or 11. And I think at least 10 of them came out in these hardcovers. So I've got the Star Trek Reader, got the Star Trek Reader 2, the Star Trek Reader 3. They have some pretty cool covers on these guys. And the Star Trek Reader 4. And in this volume is the novel I'll be reading, the first Star Trek novel that was written, called Spock Must Die. So I'm actually going to be reading every one of these for August, which should be manageable, because lately I've made a little tweak in my reading. I did something that I have resisted up to this point, and that is I sped up my reading speed. I could read faster than I normally do. I just had fallen into the habit of just reading at a comfortable, kind of mellow pace because, you know, I wasn't on BookTube most of my life. But now I am. And I find I want to go through more books than I do. So I'm just reading faster, which I can do. And so I've been doing that. And because I could go through about 70 pages an hour. 70, 75 pages an hour. And that would be my fast reading speed. My normal reading speed is like 30. But I could turn on the heat, turn on the gas if I need to. Go at warp speed, which is what I'm going to be doing from now on. So we could do Star Trek, and so I could read all those Star Trek books. Of course, Barnes & Noble put out a extra fancy version of those books I just showed you. These are Star Trek, the classic episodes, and inside this book we've got all the boys there. I guess Uhura's still up on the ship, you know, it was the 60s. So I got all the boys here. And on the back here we got the original Enterprise, which is really cool. So of course I've got this. So I'm going to go back to the beginning for next month. I'm going to try to find out what the first Star Trek The Next Generation novel was, and then I'm going to get that from eBay probably. And I'll just do that for the rest of the month. So I'll just find out what the first book or the first novel in the series were, and I'll just get them. And if I like them, I might continue on reading Star Trek novels. Who knows? It might be fun. I like Star Trek an awful lot. So yeah, that is the exciting Book Trek 2021. Feel free to hop on board if you'd like. We'd love to have you on the crew. So I will catch you next time. I'll catch you tomorrow for my Sherlock Saturday. I will see you then.